Yep. What's up?
Yo, yo, what up?
How you doing?
I'm doing amazingly. How about you, my friend? How about you, my friend?
What was that?
Exactly. Keep you on your toes.
Is that how you're
Keep
gonna
you on your
sound?
toes.
Is that how you're gonna talk when you're like 100 years old? Like you're just
I
gonna
hope
like,
so. Hope so. I'll be throwing out random. You know why though? Because I won't care. I'm like, yeah, I'm 100, dude. Yeah, you didn't hear me? Well, that's your problem.
I
I'm
say what
100.
I say what I want.
It's funny because Jake, I don't know why this was a topic, but he, we just got back from a trip. We're gonna do a different podcast on that, but he kept asking me like he kept asking when he's 100, how old will I be? And I'm like, well, I'll be 133 or whatever I am. And he's like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. So we started talking about like what we're gonna do when he's 100 and I'm 133. And it was a very interesting perspective because at that point, like, I mean, your kid's 100 years old and you're 133 or whatever. Like, is it? Are you still treating your 100-year-old kid as a kid because he's 100? I mean, he's 100 years
Yeah.
old. Anyway, that was a it was
I'd
a,
be
a
like still
fun thought
scolding,
exercise.
still
Like,
scolding him,
hey,
like
quit
stop,
picking your nose.
stop
And he's
scratching your
like,
butt.
I'm 100, dude. Like, I've been picking my nose for 100 years. Like, you're gonna tell me what to do? I'm 100. Anyway, why we're even talking about this is in the one of our houses. We're talking about health, and one of the exercises that's the focus is this life as a centenarian. And it's been a very interesting conversation, powerful conversation, right? I mean, as all these are, and things have come out like what you want to be able to do at 100 years old. And really for me, the most powerful thing, well, actually there's two things that have really resonated. One, I've never really thought that way, right? Like I've never really projected out. One, I've never stated a desire to be a centenarian, but I've just never thought about what life would look like at that point. Like I think, and that's I think why it's so impactful for me is I think most of us do not ever consider things like that. Like we don't consider the future in those terms. We don't, um, we just don't think that way. And I'm not proposing we live in the future by any stretch, because what have you changed? What have you ever changed about the future of the past by living in those time frames, right? You don't. Like, you got to embrace the present. But sometimes thinking back and especially thinking forward helps you to live in the present more effectively and more fully. And so that's been very, very impactful for me. The other side of it that is intriguing in everything we do is taking that thought exercise and putting action to it, right? So specifically, something as simple as some of the guys are like, I want to be able to walk a mile and hold my wife's hand. Awesome. Love it. Can you do that today? Like, is that something that, like, do you have to wait to be 100 to do that? And a lot of times there's just a disconnect between what we want to do in the future and thinking about that and how special it'll be and how amazing. And now we could actually do that right now. And that's just one example. There's plenty of examples. And if our listeners go through the exercise of just make a simple list of what you want to be able to do when you're 100 years old. Just do that. And then next to that list, put action items that would enable that. And then if there's a gap between then and now, well, you just created a list of things to do, and it's easy.
Yeah, one of the things, I mean, like you said, we don't always want to be looking, far into the future. But this exercise actually is very helpful because if you do have the desire to live to 100 years old, like there are things you should be doing now to even get you to that 100 years old, right? Like you have to intentionally live your life now in a way that even allows you to get to 100 in the health department. And it's not just physical health. There's a lot of mental health, spiritual health, relational health. There's a lot of that applies to today that you should be doing. And like you said, like there are gaps that you should be doing in your life now and actionize those items. to get to 100, right? And a lot of it is just simple stuff. A lot of it is just simple, and um, it's easy, like taking a walk and holding your spouse's hand. Like that's easy. You just have to make time for it and be intentional. Um, like calling a buddy and telling them you're thankful for them, reading a book, actually going to the gym and lifting heavy weights, right? Um, so these are some of the things that were discussed today. Um, you know, like brushing your teeth and flossing and going and getting a teeth cleaning every 6 months or 3 months, right? Like simple stuff. But you need to be doing it now to even get to 100. Finding a
Yeah,
new best friend,
and
right? Like I need to find a new best friend.
yeah, I mean, you'll be lucky if by 100 you find somebody that wants to be your best friend. I'd say probably you probably have to live to be 130, 140 years old for that to happen. But and that's because everybody that knows you will be dead. That's messed up.
That is messed up.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not like have to do's either, right? Like a lot of these things are awesome, like they're fun. Like oftentimes when you think about the future and you think about aspirational things that you want to do, those are typically very pleasant things, right? Those are things that you aspire to, and by definition, they're things that you desire, that you want. And and I'll tell you, just making the list is more than 99% of people do. And so most people don't do these things because they have no idea that that's what they want to do, or they don't realize until it's too late. Like, oh man, if I just would have brushed my teeth and flossed, like, is that what that's what it would have taken? You know what I mean? Because a lot of these things are just not that. Like you said, it's not difficult and they're relatively easy, but it's not the fact that they're difficult or easy. I personally believe it's the fact that most people don't know that's what they want. Like they just haven't taken the time because we're so busy, right? Like they're so busy. I'm so busy. I can't, I can't make a list of things that I really desire in my life. What are you busy doing? Oh man, those YouTube shorts, they just really sucked me in, man. TikTok, do you see that dance? Do you see the new dance on TikTok? Like that's the jam, right? Like, no, man. I mean, just you have time, okay? And you're not as busy as you think. I promise. So find that time. And just what I'm saying right now, like these couple exercises could be life changing. One, find where your time goes. That in and of itself could be hugely impactful for your life because you see where you're wasting it and where you're investing it. And then two, like make a simple list. It'll take you 5 minutes, if 5 minutes, right? Without putting much thought to it. 10 things I really want to do when I'm 100, and you put them down, and then like I think you'll see that it's really just not all that. It's a lot of the things you could literally do right now, and those things could change your life. They could be the most impactful thing you've done at this point in your life, and it's so whatever. 25 push-ups a day. If you don't do anything and you started doing 25 push-ups a day, like what over time compounded, like that could be significant, right? And typically what happens is when you start something, so I say take 5 minutes. I imagine, because this is the way it happens for me, that when you start something like this for 5 minutes, you start making a list, like it's actually fun. Like you start envisioning your life and you start envisioning things you can do. And you'll 20 minutes later be like, oh man, this is a great list. Like on the way home yesterday on a flight, it was an hour or whatever, the internet didn't work. So I couldn't work and I couldn't, whatever, watch a movie. I probably wasted my time watching a movie. So I just started writing 100 once. It was a lot of fun, dude. Like I was like, oh, I want this. I want to experience this. I want to, do these things. And the time flew, and an hour 40 later, I was like, oh, this is a pretty good list. This was a lot of fun. But it also gives me opportunity to go back and read it and be like, man, this is my vision.
Yeah.
This is what I want. How do
It's
I action
motivating.
this?
It's motivating, man. Motivating to just to take action. Right. And that's what we're all about, is actually taking action steps to go make your life better. So here's the challenge. Hey, take this and run with it. Write out a list of what you want to be doing when you're 100 years old, and find that gap of what you're not doing now and put it on the calendar. Go do something about it.
Yeah, and if you want an extra challenge to the challenge, hit us up. Like let us know these things that you want to do, right? Like I love hearing. That's one of my favorite things about the mastermind is that you're surrounded by today, right? It just this question led to us talking about one guy who, out of 9 people that he was talking about in his family, 7 have divorced. And it led to a revelation for him being like, I don't want that for my life at any point in my life. But nobody goes into a marriage being like, I hope I get divorced. I mean, nobody does. I mean, well, I shouldn't say nobody. I shouldn't assume that but most people don't. But they also don't go into a marriage saying things like, I do not want, we're taking divorce out of the lexicon. We are together forever. Like, even just saying that has power. And most people don't do that either. Right. And so, this kind of conversation goes to that. It went to another member talking about dementia being a part of, their family and him seeing his family go through that experience. And it's very sad and it's hard. And it's something that he was able to share that and process. And also like other dudes in the group could pour into that and say, well, yeah, I've had that experience as well. And this is, these are things we could do about that. Like one of the guys, when you talked about your teeth, he's like, coconut oil, man, coconut oil regimen. I haven't gone to a dentist for 8 years and my teeth are freaking, whatever, beautiful and they're ivory,
I have it
whatever.
starred, underlined, boxed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I genuinely want to reach out to him and be like, hey, tell me what that regimen is. Like, no kidding. Like, tell me what that regimen is, because like, that's just something, that's the thing about the mastermind, right? Like you're exposed to things you would never even considered. Like my family, dementia wasn't a thing and diabetes wasn't necessarily a thing, but it doesn't mean that we should not be aware of how to avoid and how to move forward. And even like today we're exposed to, hey, do you get your blood tested regularly? Testosterone, what are your cortisol levels? Like all those things are really, really enlightening. And I just haven't, I just didn't, maybe it's my ignorance, 100% my ignorance, but I didn't realize that I could just go get that tested and for awareness, right?
Yeah. Totally,
And what
man.
to do about it.
I also
So,
I also have that starred check line underlined. Check
right.
cortisol and testosterone levels.
Yeah. Because why not? I mean,
Yeah, why not?
why not? If there's something you can do about it before you're 100, then do something about it. Educate yourself. What does weightlifting do? Is it really important? Some people say no. Oh, well, doctors say that bone density is direct proportion to, blah, blah, blah. Like, is that important? Well, yeah. So that when you fall when you're 100, you don't automatically break a hip. Maybe you get back up from it. I don't know. There's just a lot of things we don't know, and just acknowledge that. And a group of men pouring in a bunch of ninjas, man, you can really up your game. So to that point, I also want to highlight, hey man, September's coming up. We're opening another house. And my question is, it's funny because I used to feel like I had to kind of sell this thing. And now I'm like, why are you not part of a group to get better?
Yeah.
Like I honestly cannot imagine my life at this point. I cannot imagine after being exposed to all whether it's, fatherhood tips, husband tips, business, real estate, all these different pure gold nuggets that I've experienced through this group. Like I cannot imagine my life without this group. And so that's the challenge too. Like who are you surrounding yourself with? Do you have an amazing group of ninjas that you can rely on, that you can be honest with and vulnerable with, and also are a bunch of ninjas? If not, then are you just not ready for it? Like, what are you waiting for? Let's go get our testosterone study together.
I will not be doing that together with you. But
Yeah, well, that's what you say now.
no, it's been a life changer for me, man, for sure. I desire to have more men in my life that want the same. So, um, like Goody said, another mastermind group is starting. House 3, September. There's an application right now on our website. You can go to that and click the join now button, fill out an application. There's only 15 spots available. So um, go do it. Take action.
Giddy up.
Giddy up. Bye now.
See you.